What's going on, everybody? I can't believe that I'm actually saying and introducing to you all my first sermon. Can't believe I did it, man. I thank you for taking this time to watch it right now. I want to thank everybody who came out, but for those of you who couldn't, I promised you all that it was going to be on the internet soon, and here it is. Ignore the fact that I got a little teary in the beginning, man. It was touchy. I can't... Skirt. Kind of cried. So, just ignore that, man. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you're blessed by it. Take a look. I don't even know what I'm supposed to say. Y'all gotta sit down though. Y'all clearly. This is crazy. My phone. I definitely thank everybody who thought it not a joke to come and even hear me speak. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, all of my family and friends that came from out of town. Man, I don't even get emotional, man. I don't even know what I'm doing. This is crazy, man. I mean, to say I'm uncomfortable is an understatement. But I definitely appreciate everybody who's here. I want to say a special thank you to my mother. My parents said. It's been a long journey. Through it all, my mother stuck beside me. Through all my hard-headedness, I know I put my mother through more hell than you put your mother through. I guarantee you that. And she never left my side. My mother never left me. And she saw me through all of my pain to where I am today, and I love you, and I appreciate it. All right, hold up. Let me get it together. All right. Nah, yeah, that made me throw up. But ever since I was a youngin', I was told that I got two responsibilities, and that's to get saved and then serve God. You know, that's one love and three persons with one name, and that's God. I just pray that the Lord forgives me because, like most of us in here, I've been doing a lot of wrong. But it's my prayers that through my purpose, that God's will continue to carry on. But to be honest, I have a whole lot of questions. Like, I wonder who has some answers. Like, I really don't understand why God has me here and why he keeps giving me so many chances. But he'll allow little kids to die in Newtown at Sandy and have families go through turmoil over something so tragic. Stuff like that just don't add up. Like if we was doing bad mathematics. Like God told me I should subtract all of me and add more of him. Subtract all of me and just add more of you. Then I gotta work through my problems and see if they all get reduced. Try my best to multiply my fruit and lean and depend on God and see what he can produce. It sounds so easy, but we all know it ain't. You telling me that all the fun things I want to do on a regular basis, like get high, drink, have sex, party, if I'm living for you, I can't. I really don't know if I'm even ready for this moment, but I wish I had an excuse or something. I don't, and here I am. This is my first time. I hope y'all praying. But here goes nothing. Dear Heavenly Father, God, I thank you for this opportunity, God. God, I ask that right now you would just use me to do whatever you want to do. God, don't let me be heard, but let you be heard. I need you more right now than I've ever needed you before. God, speak through me. Give me the words to say. Give me some comfort, peace of mind. And if you see fit, could you pick my stomach up off the ground? I praise you and give you all the glory in advance. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Yes, feedback too much. All right, I spoke a little bit about my mother, who's a wonderful person. She's been a wonderful person for a long time. When I was a little bit younger in elementary school, my mother was an attorney, so she knew a lot about the government and judicial branch and all that crazy stuff. So my teacher in second grade asked my mother to come and speak to the class and help us out while we were learning. And, you know, we said that my life's been a journey, so I wasn't necessarily a model student. I probably was a teacher's worst nightmare, to be honest. I got decent grades, but I was the class clown, disrespectful, the whole 9 yards. Parents used to have to pop up in class any given time, you know. I was that kind of kid. But my mother came and she spoke to the class and she was asking questions, and all the kids in the class were raising their hands, but I was kind of just sitting off in my desk, not really participating and not really involved in what was going on. But she was just asking, and she was so excited, like the look on her face. She was like, yeah, this is great. I'm doing a great job right now. And I'm sitting in the corner completely out of it, completely tuned out. But I was good because I wasn't interrupting the class. I wasn't getting put out. So I thought that I was good where I was at. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that makes sense. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, but I wasn't misbehaving either. So give me a little bit. I was good where I was at. But then for some reason, my mother got the bright idea that she wanted to call on me and ask me the answer to the question. To say the least, I didn't know the answer because I wasn't paying attention, of course. My mother said, okay, Brent, can you answer that? So I looked up. Like, first of all, I don't understand why teachers do that. If I didn't raise my hand, don't call on me. Like, that don't make no sense. Like, leave me alone. Obviously, I don't know the answer because if I knew it, I would have raised my hand. But my mother called on me, and in the most embarrassing way I knew how, I looked at her and said, I ain't raised my hand. If y'all could have seen the look on her face when I said that, she was pissed. I mean, can I say that up here? No? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, I might as well put a disclaimer now. I'm sorry in advance for anything I say that I'm not supposed to. All right. My bad for the P word. All right. But she was highly upset that I didn't respond to the call that she had given me. And I think a lot of times in life we also get into that same situation where we get called on to answer something and we just look like, well, I ain't raised my hand for that. I ain't volunteered for that. That ain't what I'm interested in. I don't want any parts of that. I think that happens quite often. So, I mean, I think we get in a position where we're like, I'm good where I'm at. You don't need to ask anything more of me. Where I'm at is comfortable for me, and I'm good. Don't bother me because I'm good where I'm at. But my question this morning is, what happens when being good where you're at isn't good enough? What happens when being good and comfortable where you're at isn't good enough? Y'all can't do that math stuff. That's gonna throw me off too. This my first, I ain't used to all that. It's distracting me. All right. What happens? What happens when something comes along that completely takes you away from what's comfortable to you? I mean, let's talk about work. You're at work and you're doing your job just like you used to doing every single day. But then your boss asks you to do something that ain't what you normally do. You're like, nah, can you just pick somebody else for that? Let Eddie do that. That ain't for me. I don't want to do that. Or at school, when the teacher asks you to maybe do an extra credit project, you really don't want to do it. Like this isn't really for you. But you're asked to do more out of your comfort level. Where you were good, you're asked to extend how good you were and become better. If we be honest, a lot of times we ignore the call. I mean, think about it. I know for me, mine is like if I'm watching football or if I'm playing Madden, matter of fact. If you call me while I'm playing the game, I'm not going to answer the phone. Just be real. I don't care who you are. I'm not going to answer the phone. I'm in my zone. I'm doing what I do. Or maybe it's like, think about back when you were in school, you used to take a test. And at the end of the test, the teacher used to put some bonus questions on there. Bonus questions used to be the lifeline sometimes. Like, if I get this bonus question right, I might pass. But sometimes if you did a great job on the test, you're like, well, I don't need to even answer the bonus questions. For what? What's the point in answering the bonus question? I'm good with what I already put down. It's no point. But why not do more? And I think that's kind of how we do God. God sometimes requires more of us. But we just say, God, I'm kind of good with where I'm at. God will ask you, yeah, I need you to serve this Sunday, but you'll be like, you know what? My mother's church is doing something. Find an excuse. We come through every Sunday, sit in the same pew, do the same routine, clap your hands, say amen, pray, and go home. And we think that's our ticket to heaven, honestly. We're sadly mistaken. I mean, I think that we just become so comfortable with being at a comfort level that we never want anybody to ask anything more of us. I'm going to tell you the statement that I dread. When Aunt Fran says, we need some men to move some chairs. Any triumphant people know about that statement? No? Okay, I'm just the only one. Y'all ain't never heard of that? Okay, it's cool. I hate that. It'll be right when you about to get in the car and leave. Aunt Fran will say, I need some men. You have some men. I hate it. Call to do more. And I think at a younger age, the younger we are, we're less consequential to answer to God's call. I think the younger we are, we take for granted the fact that God will really be upset with us if we don't answer to him. I think the younger we are, we're like, God understands, man. It's my 21st birthday. I got to turn up. Well, turn up means get drunk in some forms of fashion, all right, some ways. But it's my 21st. My best friend about to graduate. Oh, we partying tonight. Gotta get it in. Gotta live it up. We think the younger we are, we got more and more excuses. Sandy Hook's elementary school. How young were those kids? Never got a chance. Never got a chance. It's scary. The fact that we think, all right, I'll wait till I get to my mother's age, or I'll wait till I get to my grandparents' age. Then I'll start getting serious about God. That's when I'll start shouting and falling out in church. People die daily. And we take for granted the fact that, hey, I'm young, God understands. I used to think like that, especially. I really used to think that. My father was a pastor, his father was a pastor, I think his father was a pastor. That ain't for me, I'm good. I'm good. I'm getting in by association. I mean, don't make it seem like I'm the only one, though. I'm in there. I'm in there. But if you want to be honest, maybe you feel like you're not even equipped for some of these things. You're not built for it. You're not prepared. God didn't put you through the proper process. You didn't go to Bible college, so you can't do that. But I didn't know you needed to go to Bible college to usher. I didn't know you needed to go to Bible college to read scripture. Or you might say, my parents were no good. My father's been locked up since I was a baby, and my mother had me when I was 15. I can't be called to do anything great. Ridiculous excuses. See, the thing is, God may choose to take you somewhere where you completely don't understand what's going on. You might think that you're on set for one course and you're on set to go one place, and God says, you know what? I need you to make a U-turn. That ain't where you're supposed to be going. Like, can you imagine you've been in school all your life to become a doctor? All them years, how many years is it to be a doctor? I don't know. 12 years. I barely made it through high school. With 12 years. And then all of a sudden he says, you know what, I need you to be a lawyer. It just don't make no sense. You haven't been prepared for this. You've been learning about bone structures and tissues and cells and all that stuff, but now we're telling you to go into a courtroom. It just don't make sense. God, why would you have me go somewhere where I'm not prepared for it? Let's look at the scriptures. If you don't mind, if you have your Bible, turn to Jonah chapter 1. Should be a familiar story. I'm going to read the whole first chapter, but hopefully it don't take that long. All right, I know probably y'all haven't read the Bibles all week anyway. All right, chapter 1, verse 1. The word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah ran away from the Lord and headed for Tarshish. He went down to Joppa, where he found a ship bound for that port. After paying the fare, he went aboard and sailed for Tarshish to flee from the Lord. Then the Lord sent a great wind on the sea, and such a violent storm arose that the ship threatened to break up. All the sailors were afraid, and each cried out to his own God, and they threw the cargo into the sea to lighten the ship. But Jonah had gone below deck, where he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. The captain went to him and said, "How can you sleep? Get up and call on your God. Maybe he will take notice of us and we will not perish."
Then the sailors said to each other, "Come, let us cast lots to find out who is responsible for this calamity." They cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. So they asked him, "Tell us, who is responsible for making all this trouble for us? What do you do? Where do you come from? What is your country, and from what people are you?" Jonah answered, "I am Hebrew, and I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, and who made the sea and the land." This terrified them, and they asked, "What have you done?" They knew he was running away from the Lord because he had already told them so. The sea was getting rougher and rougher, so they asked him, "What should we do to you to make the sea calm down for us?" "Pick me up and throw me into the sea," he replied, "and it will become calm. I know that it is my fault that this great storm has come upon you." Instead, the men did their best to row back to land, but they could not, for the sea grew even wilder than before. Then they cried to the Lord, "O Lord, please do not let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing an innocent man, for you, O Lord, have done as you pleased." Then they took Jonah and threw him overboard, and the raging sea grew calm. At this, the men greatly feared the Lord, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows to him. But the Lord provided a great fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah was inside the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Now, the Bible doesn't give too much history about Jonah. It says that he was a prophet. So he obviously knew who the Lord was. He was doing some type of work for the Lord if he was a prophet. He had to be doing something. And it says that the Lord came to him and told him, "Jonah, I need you to do something for me. I need you to go to this city of Nineveh where they are over there tripping. Like they are over there like completely losing it. They're against everything that I stand for. I need you to go in the middle of there and tell them, hey, get it together." And like many of us, we probably would have laughed at God and rolled out. Said, "God, you can't be serious. This is not what I'm supposed to do. Why would I go to that city of Nineveh?" Matter of fact, Jonah didn't even put up a discussion. It says that he just fled. He didn't even argue back and forth with the Lord. It said he just rolled out. And not only did he flee, he went to Tarshish, which was about 2,500 miles away from where he was supposed to go. Not only did Jonah run, so that's the distance possibly between like D.C. and L.A. Not only did he not go where he was supposed to go, Jonah went all the way across the country, making sure he didn't do what he was supposed to do. So God sent a rough wind. The ship was rocking. The boat was rocking. Boat was rocking. Everybody's scared to death. And Jonah decides he's going to go downstairs and take a nap, comfortable with the fact that he was disobedient to God's calling. Good with the fact that he was disobedient to what God had asked him to do. Sleeping through all the turmoil that was going on around him that was his fault. Risking everybody else's life because he wanted to be disobedient. The rest of the sailors started throwing all their stuff overboard. Then they asked him, "Hey, man, what is going on? Why are you asleep? You need to be praying." All the sailors were praying to their own gods and saying, "Somebody help, somebody help. What is going on? Somebody please save us." Jonah asleep. They woke Jonah up and said, "Hey, why aren't you praying to your God, you fool? What are you doing? We could die right now. Get up." And Jonah said, "Look, man, I know what's going on. If y'all want to stop it, just throw me overboard. Winds will settle. Y'all will be peaceful. Just throw me overboard." But they was like, "Nah, we're going to try this again, man." They tried to row some more. It wouldn't work. Tried to row. Wouldn't work. Then finally they said, "All right, we got to get him out of here. It's him or us. Who's going to be? Him or who's it going to be? It ain't going to be me." So they threw Jonah overboard. Now, Tarshish, where Jonah was headed for, was a popular trade port. They used to trade like expensive and fancy metals over there. So it was probably real easy for Jonah to go over there and blend in. Probably wouldn't be seen. Nobody would notice that he had a calling on his life and he could just work this average Joe job and never do more. I think a lot of us in here do that too. Go to an average Joe job where it doesn't even pull on your calling. You settle just to be good where you at. Get the same paycheck every other week. Same things every other week. Nothing new. Go in the office, you file them papers. You answer them calls, customer service. Whatever you may do. not going on your job or anything, but try to find where there could be more. We're comfortable. One of my favorite movies of all times is a movie called Drumline. I love that movie. Anybody seen it? I love the movie Drumline. I used to play the drums a lot, so that's probably part of the reason why I love it. The movie is about a gentleman named Devin Miles, who was an extraordinary drummer. Played the snare drum, got a full scholarship to a college for playing the drums, and he was just elite at what he did. Made everybody else look bad. Made the leader look bad. Just was great at playing the drums. Showboat, arrogant, had it all together, and he was good with where he was at. He was good with his talent. But then one day the leader exposed him and said, hey, I wrote this piece of music. I need you to read it. And Devin Miles couldn't read music. For as great as he was at doing what he did, Devin Miles couldn't do the basis. Devin Miles couldn't read music, which was a requirement to even be at that school that he was at. So he was getting by, shining, looking good. And he didn't even know how to do what he was supposed to do. So when they found out, they told Devin Miles, look, you got to enroll in some classes. You have to learn how to read music immediately. And Devin Miles didn't know about this. This is unfamiliar territory. He had gone his whole life all the way through college without knowing how to read music, and everybody giving him kudos for what he did. But now it's like, nah, you got to go back to square one. And that didn't line up with what Devin Miles had planned. So he fled, went to another school. Said, I'll just take my talents to South Beach for all you LeBron fans. Fled, rolled out. It's too hard for me. I can't do this. I'm not the classroom type. I can't do this. See, I think Devin Miles was also comfortable with just being the man. But when it came time to put some backing towards that, something that would push him further in life, he didn't want to have any parts of it. I don't know why, but Devin Miles is kind of like Jonah. Devin Miles was good where he was, just like Jonah. But when he was called to do more, he said, I got to go. It's not for me. One thing I find interesting about this passage, though, if you look at verse 5, it says, all the sailors were afraid, and each cried out to his own God. And they threw the cargo into the sea to lighten the ship. All the sailors were afraid, and each cried out to his own God. But if you jump down to verse 14, it says, then they cried out to the Lord. O Lord, please do not let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing an innocent man, for you, O Lord, have done as you please. If you jump down to verse 16, it says, at this the men greatly feared the Lord, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows to him. See, the funny thing is that even though Jonah wasn't doing what he was supposed to do, God still found a way to stick his foot in the door. We kind of overlook the fact that Jonah was just completely against what God told him to do. But God said, it's all right. Go ahead. You do you, and I'm going to do me. See, it's funny how God still got the glory out of all those sailors on the ship in the turmoil, and Jonah was the root of the problem. If we look at our own lives, I think sometimes we might be the root of some turmoil going on around us. Maybe we've been ignoring a calling. God done called us to do some stuff, but because we haven't done it, Uncle Ray still getting locked up. Because we haven't done it, my daughter's on her 4th baby. Never been married, never even been in a decent relationship. Because I haven't done what I'm supposed to do, my son is flunking out of school. All the turmoil that might be going on, you may be the root. So when you're going to allow God to stick his boot in there? See, I think Jonah's biggest problem was something that I have a problem with. I think Jonah and Devin Miles knew something so greatly. They were comfortable where they were, and they were just masters in what they did. But then it got to a point where they were called to do something more. And the question they had to raise is, am I supposed to leave what I know for the unknown? Am I supposed to leave what I really know for what I have no clue of? God, this can't be real. This ain't how life's supposed to go. I got a band. A lot of you know. It's called CRB. By the way, New Year's. We're having a skate party. I'd love for you to be there after church. Hey, I don't have no shame. I have no shame whatsoever. But I have a band, and this is our 6th year. We're going into our 7th year of being in existence. And it's been all I know. We've hit some ups and downs, but I've grown so much, and it's really been like all that I know. We perform all the time and all across DMV. We've been on the radio and made some CDs and stuff and done some things, and it feels great. People after shows will come up to me and talk to me. Hey, man, you really blessed me. What you said really touched me. I really appreciate it. And people hit my inbox. You have no idea how much CRB just blesses me. And I've been good with that for years. I've been feeling like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm touching people. God, thanks, man. You gave me just what I wanted. All we got to do is rise to the top. But kind of came to a point where just being with a band ain't good enough no more. Let me tell you, that's a tough pill to swallow. Because I've been good with that. I mean, it's nothing wrong with CRB at all. It's doing great works, I believe. But it came to a point where God said, look, just like you used to play the drums, and I had to get you to do something greater. You had CRB, now you got to do something greater. I ain't saying I'm quitting CRB. I ain't saying that. But I am saying it comes a point where you got to start building yourself to transition to your next calling. And that's tough too. That'll almost bring me to tears too, because CRB is like my child, for real. Been there since day one, seen it through. But it comes a point where God says, I just can't use you right there to your full potential. I need you to do more. And this is scary. This is creepy. Like, people been telling me when I tell them, how you feel? You ready? I'll be like, no. I'm nervous. I'm petrified. I'm scared. I'm completely not ready for this. They'll say, why? You do it all the time. This is way different. Let me tell you, it is so easy when you have a band of 8 people behind you, and then, like, if whatever you say doesn't make sense or it doesn't go over well, you can just go to the next song. Like, that's what it's, I'm going to tell you how great that is. Like, seriously. Right here, it's like preparation. I don't think I've ever studied for something as hard as I did this. In school, I ain't really care enough. But I mean, it's been countless nights. I've been staying up till like 3 in the morning just reading the same stuff over and over and still feeling like it's just not it. It's crazy. But God will push you to do something more. Like many of you, I might feel like, well, I feel like I'm not really qualified to even be up here. Like I said, I've never been to college. I don't have a big degree. Got a lot of tattoos. I'm an ex-weed head. Still struggle with drinking, if I can be real. I mean, still struggle with lust all the time. I don't feel that I'm supposed to be up here. I don't think I'm supposed to be up here. I mean, my family broke apart about 12 years ago. I don't feel like I'm supposed to be here. Leave that for my brother. For y'all that don't know, my brother's a minister. He does the preaching thing. I was the heathen. He was the... I mean, just to be honest, this is not me. But can I tell you that God gets more mileage out of your adversity than anything else? When you don't give up and fight through that process, man, there's been many a nights where I just wanted to just throw in the towel and say, forget it all. Many nights where I just wanted to say, I ain't built for this, man. But through that adversity, you got to go low sometimes in order to grow. Sometimes you got to go to this low point where you just literally face on the ground. And in order for God to be able to do some stuff with you, don't disqualify yourself before God can even qualify you. And I think that's what we do all the time. And I think that's why we make coming to church just a routine. That ain't it. Coming to church is not your calling. Coming to church is just your responsibility, but it's not your calling. Coming to church, sitting in the same seat every Sunday, is not going to get you anywhere. I had to realize that. I sat in the back all the time. Not at the back of the sanctuary, in the back. I wasn't even trying to be in here. And one day, Pastor Rogers came up to me and said, you know, I want you to start sitting on the front row. I felt like Jonah. Like, probably not. I'm going to go find another church. I'm going to go to another church where it's real big and just blend in. But then I started sitting on the front row. As weird as it was just a step for my transition. And I want to encourage you all to take that step as well. But I think what we do is make excuses. Yeah, I can't sit on the front row because my wife sits in the back, and I don't want to leave her by herself. Oh, no, I can't come to church on Wednesday because my son has practice. I can't come to Bible study. I'm sorry. Make excuses. Oh, no, I got this class that I take. I just started taking Zumba. Shut up. This ain't no Zumba. But I mean, I think sooner or later we got to get tired of making excuses and stop holding up all these excuses. One of my favorite games when I was a kid was checkers. I used to think I was a beast. I don't think anybody could see me in checkers. Like nobody can see me in Madden now. By the way, I just got online on Xbox if y'all want to see me. But seriously, checkers. I thought that was the best game in the world. You start out kind of even with your pieces on both sides with your opponent, and you try to see who can overtake the next man. Y'all know how to play, right? And then when you get to the other side, when you land your piece on the other side, you would say, "King me, king me, be hype, king me." You say that with some power. You know? No, I was the only one. Okay, that thing, that king me meant something to me. Because I mean, that just increased your chances of winning. And then somebody, if you got a couple of kings, or if you had one king and you started moving, the king allowed you to go back and forth, skip a few spaces, or allowed you to do some different things than you would normally be able to do. So your opponent most likely would get down to the wire or only have one or two pieces left, and you be going back and forth side to side on the board like, come here, I'm going to get sooner or later, I'm going to get you. And then you back that piece finally into a corner or something. They would have to make that last move. Boom, game over. I think that's how we do with our excuses. We keep throwing out an excuse, move it over here, and then God says, okay, I'll take that excuse. I don't care about the fact that you're on welfare. Take that. Then you move another piece, and God says, okay, I'll jump that excuse too. I don't care about the fact that your mother been gone. She threw you in the dumpster. Who cares if you grew up in a group home? I'll take that excuse. And then God will finally get to the other side, and it gets to a point where he's going to say, look, you got to king me. God will get to a point where you say, look, you got to king me, the King of Kings, and stop worshiping your stupid excuses. I think it gets to a point where you get them last two excuses and you holding on to them for dear life, and you running all over the board. But sooner or later, God going to back you into a corner and say, look, what you going to do? What you gonna do? I think it's time that we go ahead and acknowledge the call that God has on each of our lives. And I'm not just saying this to be cliche, because if I was cliche, I wouldn't be up here. I'm telling you, you have a calling on your life. Devin Miles, when he went to that other school, he could have shined at that school and did his thing just like he was doing at any other school, but he still wouldn't have had that depth that learning how to read music would have gave him. it still wouldn't have set him up for the success that learning how to read music would have set him up for. Jonah and the fish had to realize, okay, God, you got it. The miraculous thing, though, if you get swallowed by a fish, aren't you supposed to die? Why didn't God allow Jonah to die? God could have easily just picked somebody else and said, okay, you just keep doing your foolish stuff, and I'm going to just get somebody else. But he allowed Jonah to run, allowed Jonah to get thrown overboard. He didn't drown. Then he gets swallowed by a fish, and he still doesn't die. Why? It's a calling. When God asks you to do something, you're going to do it sooner or later. I mean, the Bible does say that every knee shall bow. Every tongue will confess that Jesus is Lord. It's wild that I had to answer a calling. It's crazy that I had to answer a calling. I was good where I was. I was good first playing the drums, even when I was playing the drums at other people's churches. I was good doing that, extra income and everything. Good. But I had to answer a calling, and this ain't me. This right here, it's not me. I don't feel like this is me. I ain't supposed to do this. It's for my father. It's for my brother. But I came to the realization, I think this morning, this is me. I think that a lot of people say, well, Brent, I hear you saying I got a calling, but how do I know what that calling is? How do I know? Like, how am I supposed to figure out what that calling is? Like, I don't know. I don't know the voice of God. I don't know when he's telling me to do something. For a long time, I would feel uneasy about like preachers, and I had a bad taste in my mouth about preachers and pastors, and I thought they were all liars, and I just thought it was all a scam and a gimmick, and it just getting over. And it bothered me, though. It wasn't just like I could just stop going to church. It bothered me. And I think just like me, something bothers you. If it ain't preaching, it might be something else. Maybe when you pass by a homeless person on the street, it really gets to you in a way that it don't get to everybody else. Maybe when you see less fortunate children, it really gets to you like it don't get to everybody else. It's something in your life that just like really stirs you up. Pay attention. Pay attention. What that is attention. Andy Stanley talks a lot about tensions. That's a tension that you have to pay attention to and take note of. That might be where your calling is. Pay attention, because you're not called to come and sit down. You're not called to come and get a show. Praise and worship, entertain me. Preacher, entertain me. Tell me something good. Baby, I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't have said that. It's attention. Pay attention to it. You can't overlook those moments of adversity, because it makes you who you are. If I hadn't have gone through all that hell, I wouldn't be the gentleman I am today. Still got a whole lot of issues. I got issues. So I don't want y'all to start saying nothing like Brent up there talking and he be tripping. Yes, I do. It's no secret. I got issues. But I'm responding to my calling. See, the story of Jonah is kind of like Jesus. Jesus was called to do something. He responded, though. He went on his journey like he was supposed to. Jonah didn't. Jonah ended up in the belly of a fish. Jesus ended up on the cross. What a coincidence. Both of them were 3 days. Jesus took a beating, but Jesus carried out his responsibility. He carried out his calling. Even through that long journey, Jonah hit some bumps in the ocean. Jesus hit some bumps along the way, got beat down. But the deepest wounds lead to empty tombs. Sometimes the things that you go through the most will be the very thing that not only sets you free, but sets somebody else free as well. I think we got to learn how to allow our testimony to set somebody else free, but we be holding it back. Excuse my English. We hold it back sometimes. Now we be holding it back. But, I mean, that's what we do. I think it's time that we at least seek out our calling and act on it. I have a song that I love to listen to all the time. It's by an artist named B. Reith. It's called For Once in My Life. Kind of speaks to me because it kind of talks about it's time to make a difference, and it's time to stop making excuses. And I'm going to do what I got to do. And my prayer for all of you is that you don't just look at me making a transition and think it's cool. Good for you, Brent. I remember when you was a heathen. I remember when you was doing this and that. Yeah, I remember you doing some stuff too. I mean, if we can be real. But when you going to accept your calling, don't disqualify yourself. What are you going to do when being good where you're at isn't good enough? I want you all to listen to the song, and I thank you. Praise God for his word.
Trying to live like there's no consequences. They tell us how to live right. We get all defensive. That's not the way that life works. Sorry to bust your bubble. Every day that we don't change just leads to more and more trouble, yeah. I'm not looking for a cop-out, looking for excuses. I've made those for my whole life. I'm ready for change, yeah, I'm really ready for change. Don't know about you, I made up my mind. I ain't playing games, we running out of time. We made such a mess already. This ain't the best I can be, so you can keep playing. I ain't got the patience. We ain't little kids no more. I'ma go and do the right thing, say yeah. I'ma go and do the right thing, say yeah.
For once in my life, I'ma quit being passive. Looking for shortcuts and fast lanes. I'ma do whatever it takes, even if it hurts me, even if it breaks me. Tired of living my life half-hearted, never finishing what I started. These dreams that I'm disregarded, time to grab hold again. I'm not looking for a cop-out, looking for excuses, made to lose my whole life. Oh, I'm ready for a change. Oh, I'm ready for a change. Don't know about you,
I made up my mind. I ain't playing games, running out of time. Made such a mess already. This ain't the best I can be. You can keep playing. I ain't got the patience. We ain't little kids no more. I'ma go and do the right thing, say yeah, right. I'ma go and do the right thing, say the right thing.
for once in my life, my life. For once in my life.
When my life is over, I don't wanna look back and say, oh, that I held it all back, and I got nothing to show for it, no. I'll let it all go now so it all doesn't go to waste. But once in my life, I decided I'm ready for change.
I don't know about you, I made up my mind. I ain't playing games, we're running out of time. Made such a mess already, and this ain't the best I can be.
So you can keep playing. I ain't got the patience. We ain't little kids no more. the kids no more. I'ma do the right thing, babe, do the right thing, do the right thing, babe, do the right thing. Once in my life, my life, my life, my life.
Once in my life,